In this short video, I'm going to show you how we can move dedup images from one Actifio appliance to another Actifio appliance without using any form of SLA. This functionality was introduced into Actifio's codebase in release 6.11, 6.1.1, as part of our multi-hop, but in fact we can use this as part of migration or literally to move an image from one site to another on an ad hoc basis. So in this example, I'm looking at a VM called VQ Report. It's currently on our Site 1 machine, if you like, SAHQ, using a directed dedup SLA or policy. There's no remote replication going on. So if I go and search on the secondary machine, and I brought up the secondary machine here, and I'm going to go and look for the same machine, what we're going to see is that the same machine does not appear here on the secondary machine. So here's my secondary machine. I've searched for VQ Report. It's not there. So go back to the primary machine. What we're going to do is I'm going to the Restore tab, because this is obviously where I can see my dedup images. And from the Restore tab, I'll obviously go to the dedup section because I want to display just dedup images. And you can see that I've got a number of them. Let's choose one in the middle. Go to the drop down. And I have an option here called Replicate to Remote Appliance. So we're going to choose that option, choose our remote appliance. Now in this case I've only got one here that I'm actually using actively, SADR. So this, remember, my primary machine is SAHQ, my secondary is SADR. I'm going to set retention for exactly 1 month and hit submit. And now what starts on the SAHQ machine is a remote dedup job. And it's running, you can see here, it's VQ Report, and it's replicating that image to the remote site. Now, rather than us sit here and watch this job run, what I'll do now is I'll pause the video and I'll wait for the replication to complete, and then we'll see what exactly happened. Remembering, as we went back to 2.180, VQ Report literally didn't appear there, and currently doesn't appear there. So let's see what happens once that replication finishes. So the replication is currently running. You can see it's reached 82%. All right, so a few more minutes has passed, and what I can now see is my remote dedup job for VQ Report has actually succeeded. It's completed, took 11 minutes. And if I now log on to the remote site, so I'm going to the secondary machine, this is my VQDR, I can see I've now got a VQ Report. Now this is under the remote tab, so it's not showing as a local application, it's showing as a remotely replicated application. So it's not protected locally because it doesn't exist locally. But if I go to the Restore tab, I can see that I now have one image. Now this is the image that I grabbed from the local machine, so I can see the date on it is actually a few days ago, but the expiry is exactly 1 month. So again, if I switch back to that first machine and I go back to that application, and find the image that I shipped, which was the 8th of the 3rd at 2000 hours. So that was the point in time that I selected. I think it was this one here. You can see that that's the image that's now currently on the remote site. Now, what's rather neat here is that I could then take another image, not the next one, but maybe the next one down, and I'm now going to move this image. This is from the 10th of the 3rd. It's still not a recent image, well, it's a couple of days old. Again, choose remote replication. I'm going to replicate it to SADR, and then to prove a point, I'll change the replication here, the expiration rather, for 1 year, and again hit submit. So I've now chosen a different image, not one in sequential order. I've skipped a couple. The point that I'm making here is that I could use this to move specific selected images off the production site and to any site without having to actually set an SLA. And I can also do it for any image that I've currently got on the production site. So the ability to use this for things like replication or for an additional level of DR suddenly start to fall into place, and I can see some real possibility here. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this run. Now if you notice, that jumped from 4 to 98%. I didn't have to pause the video to do this, which makes sense because nearly all of the data should already be at the remote site, because all I'm really removing here is just the changes between those 2 days. So again, we'll wait for this to finish. I'll pause the video, and when it's finished, we'll come back and look at the final result. Okay, so my job did complete, and if you noticed, it completed in 57 seconds, so we could almost have just waited around. So again, just to make the point here, I took an image. It was the 10th of the 3rd at 20:02, and I grabbed that image, and if you remember, I set its expiration for 1 year. So now if I come over here, and I've got my VQ report on my remote machine in the remote tab, I refresh it, and what I should now get is 2 images, which I do, and there I have 10th of the 3rd at 20:02. And if you look at the expiration, 3rd of the 10th, 2016. Now I'm recording this on the 3rd of the 10th, 2015, 1 year expiration. So you can see how easy it is to effectively teleport images from one machine to the other, and I can do that on a selective basis. One point to make is that if I was to fail over that VM and start protecting it here, locally on this machine, which is my DR machine, it would appear under the local. So these remote images would not be connected to a new application I discover. However, they'd still all be usable for recovery if I needed to get back to that previous point in time. So just a small thing to be aware of, but regardless, what it shows is my ability to effectively move images from one site to another on an ad hoc basis. Thanks for your time. Hopefully this was useful for you.